Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all present today. Welcome to the third round of English Debate Competition InterVarsity Science E-Debate Challenge 2021. The motion for this debate is, this house believes that Star Trek is more scientifically sound than Star Wars. I will be the chairperson and the timekeeper for room 3. Let me introduce the debaters to you. Acting as the government team for this debate is the team from UTHMB with Ms. Alia as the Prime Minister, Mr. Ameh as the Deputy Prime Minister, and Mr. Tanadon as the Government Whip. Acting as the opposition team for this debate is the team from UNIKLA with Mr. Adam bin Ramli as the opposition leader, Mr. Muhammad Irfan bin Jasni as the second opposition speaker, and Mr. Adam Haziq as the opposition whip. Our panel of adjudicators consists of Mr. Troy Su Junye from UUM, Ms. Audrey Kang Nyanji from UKM, Mr. Patrick Seo William, and Ms. Noor Amira Hidayah. Now we come to our debate today. To open the case from the government team, I call upon the Prime Minister to start the debate session.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1.
Right.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, the motion in this round is a very fascinating topic to speak of. The House believes that Star Trek is more scientifically sound than Star Wars. First, let me define the three keywords here. Star Trek. Star Trek is a television series and also a film at around 1960 till present. It basically is a film where the starship USS went on a mission to explore new worlds in hopes of discovering or finding new lives and other civilizations as well. Star Wars, on the other hand, is an American epic space opera media franchise created by George Lucas, which began with the eponymous 1977 film and quickly became a worldwide pop culture phenomenon. The franchise has been expanded into various films and other medias, including television series, video games, novels, comic books, theme park attractions, and also theme areas, comprising all an encompassing fictional universe. Scientifically sound meaning it represents science and real life as accurate as possible. Well, most of us, I believe, have watched the film either Star Wars or Star Trek. But do we notice how these films are so similar yet so different? One of it, of course, Star Wars. It focuses more on fantasies like the Jedi's and the Force, which will be further explained later. Whereas the Star Trek, the movie Star Trek, the film Star Trek, it focuses more on adventures, more like exploration, which is actually close to us. Given that, we are going to give an argument. The tech is real. The tech in Star Trek is real and replicable in real life. In technology, the technology in Star Trek has borrowed many ideas from the scientific world. Episodes often contain technologies named after real-world scientific phenomena such as the beams, the baryon sweeps, quantum slipstream drives, and also photon torpedoes. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that the device that they call the PAD or PADD, Personal Access Display Device. It has no keypad. You just have to use your finger. Today we call it as an iPad or also called a tablet in general. For example, there's voice recognition talking to your device. It reminds me of the scene in Star Trek 4, the one with the whales.
POI?
No, thank you. Where Scotty goes to this engineering firm and wants to talk to the computer. So he goes, "Hello, computer," and then Bones says to him, "You're supposed to use the mouse." And Scotty says, "Oh, how quaint." Then he speaks into the mouse. The next example that I can give is in the first Star Trek series, they had a character sitting in a big burly machine. All you saw was his head, and he could communicate only by using this flashing light. 2 flashes for yes and 1 flash for no. Look what we have now. Stephen Hawking is able to communicate through his computer. He can speak full sentences. He can also write books. It's not just a flashing light. So technology that has far surpassed Star Trek, and that's supposed to be 300 years in the future. Yes.
The device you are talking about doesn't even have a screen and so on. So I believe that you are just connecting dots just to make everything make sense. Comment?
I'm sorry?
The device that you are talking about doesn't even have a screen itself. So I believe that you are just connecting dots just to make everything make sense. Comment?
It's okay. I think we can't hear. I think we all can't hear him, so it's alright. Just proceed.
Okay.
But I can
okay.
hear my team.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Can everyone hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Isaac, can you repeat the question?
I think probably Haziq can say it on the chat.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Can you
you.
guys hear me?
Yes, can hear you now.
Okay, go.
All right.
Yeah.
So the device you're talking about doesn't even have a screen. It just have flashing lights and stuff like that. And I believe that you are just connecting dots just to make everything make sense. Comment?
In which device actually?
The communicating device itself.
It actually has. It's okay. The second speaker will answer the POI. Look what we have now. Stephen Hawking is able to communicate through his computer. So technology that has far surpassed Star Trek, and that's supposed to be the 300 years in the future. We've gone much further, much faster than they have envisioned back in 1966. Next, in the Star Wars, there was a machine called the Death Star. The machine is used to destroy a planet, and it's the whole beings in the planet. So here we can actually question the feasibility. So Star Trek is more scientifically sound than Star Wars. We're proud to propose. Thank you. That will be all for my part. Thank you.
Hello? Alright, sorry. Thank you for that speech. To open the case from the opposition team, I call upon the leader of opposition to continue the debate session.
Okay, can you am I audible for you guys?
Yep, audible.
Okay, thanks. Okay. I will start with, let me just open my timer. Okay, I will be starting in 1, 2, 3. Good morning, Chairperson and ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are having a great day today. Before starting, can I share a little bit fun fact for everyone? Well, the first thing that I would like to share is that movies can affect society in both positive and negative ways. They help the people to do a lot of things and can also to increase our basic knowledge around the world about the world around us. Movies can also create violence and bad habits and can make people greedier and can send bad message to the public. Hence, today's motion is relating to it. And the topic of today's motion is the House belief that Star Trek is more scientifically sound than Star Wars. The definition that was given by the government is correct, and I do accept it as it represents science or to be accurate as possible. Not to say that you need to be accurate, but to be accurate as possible. I do agree with that. For our stance for this debate is that we think Star Wars are more scientifically sound compared to Star Trek. Star Wars and Star Trek are both science-based and involve space travel and aliens. I think we all can agree with that. And the stakeholders that are involved in this movie is that the movie itself and how would it affect the people who are watching it and how can it be truly true in the reality, so to speak. For today as the first speaker, I will be talking to you about why Star Wars is scientifically sound. And my second speaker will be talking why Star Trek are not scientifically sound. And our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. So I will start by rebutting the argument from the Prime Minister itself. She stated that their arguments was that there's a lot of technological stuff that can be related in Star Trek compared to Star Wars. Well, my refutation to that is that Star Wars also have the technological advancement that could be relating to science itself. Why do I say that? Because in Star Wars, we also have a good communication tool called comlinks. Comlinks are the standard handheld communication device fit with microphone and receivers and prevalent throughout the galaxy. It shows that these comlinks can also have private transmission and can have a private calling. This shows that in our world itself, we also have our own communication device such as our phone. This shows that it is relating. It's not that something that is so bizarre such as the PADD that's stated by the government. And we know that these comlinks are used to communicate with other people that is far from us. Like, for example, if I were there, if I were in the real world, I would want to call my friend that is on, for example, in another continent, maybe in America itself. We still can call them, and it's relating to science on how communication works. And I think comlinks are the one, my point to rebut that. Why our point is more makes sense is because comlinks are more related to what we have right now. Like I said just now, the phone itself and others communication tool. And I do think about that's important. And I think that is all I can rebut because there is no much point from the Prime Minister itself. She'll only say about the technological stuff in the movie, how it's better, but I don't think that's not enough. And let's moving on into my first argument. My first argument is that in Star Wars, we have different language, ethnics, and species. Why do I say that? First, we know that Chewbacca have a different language, and we also have droids. For example, R2-D2 have a computer language. They are logic. Why I say that Star Wars is logical and scientifically sound? Because of the language barrier that we have right now. Because in the real world, we also have a language barrier. And I do think that they are using the droids so that you can communicate with others. They use R2-D2 to talk to other species. And we can see this in real world also. We use a translator or an app of that we can translate. For example, we want to we want to understand our Korean idols. We go into Google and just go for a Google Translate. And it's relating. We also have an app where we can record our voice and just translate into the respective language. And also, the second point is that we are different from, they are also different from each other. And we learned that there are species who work for good and evil. And this is also could be true in the real world itself. People are working for different of agendas. In our world itself, we can see that. And the third thing is that the medical they use in the Star Wars itself, they already have They can have prosthetic arm, which is related to the current world. We do have prosthetic arm if we lose our leg or arm. And they also have medical droids that are available to treat patient. So this is considered as relating to the real world that we have now, and it is scientifically sound. So the medical officer or kami noan, they perform medical procedure by themselves by the help of droids. This also can be seen. The doctors using machines to scan the patient, to cut them, and this we can see in human civilization. So that is why the differences of in Star Wars are relating to the scientifically advancement of our real world. My second argument is that Star Wars movies centers around conflict between Rebel Alliance who are fight for freedom and the Galactic Empire who fight to keep in control. So we can know that there's a two side of this. The Sith is the evil and the Jedi are the good. These two powerful groups, the Sith and Jedi, can even further to be identified as the dark side and the light side. In our self itself, like I said just now, there are division between them all. There are wars between countries. It can be said that it's relating to the scientifically. People do war, people take lands, and this shows that Star Wars are more scientifically sound. I will go more into Jedi because Jedi are the part of the Force, part of the nature. They use the knowledge in order to understand the nature and why are they fighting for the greater good. For those in the Force, they can relate to the natures. They meditate, they train to improving themselves, separate them from the busy world and decided to be one with the nature. Benefits of the meditation include the better focus and concentration, improve self-awareness and self-esteem, lowers levels of stress, and fostering kindness. Meditation also benefit for your physical and can improve your health. So this shows that for the people in Star Wars are also doing the same things in the real world. Their meditation, they help themselves to improve themselves, and improvement is also a part of a human society. We improve to gain the betterment. And with that, I will just summarize my point is that the first thing is the differences in Star Wars is the same as the world itself and is scientifically proven. And also that the first are relating to the human. Okay, then I will summarize my point, which is already 7 minutes. So sorry. Thank you so much. I raised my case.
I would like to thank the speaker for their speech. To continue our debate today, I call upon the Deputy Prime Minister to continue the case for their side.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor, one thing that we need to realize is this, because of the motion, this house believes that Star Trek is more scientifically sound than Star Wars. We on the government side, we're not denying that there are some scientific objects or scientific technologies that can be replicated in real life. But we on the government side, we believe in Star Trek, it is much more believable than Star Wars. And to answer the question of the previous POI given by the previous speaker, is even though the pad has no screen, but we as humans or we in real life, we have replicated that in a way that it can be used into what we have today, screens with touch sensitive screens, which is called iPad or tablet, and even communication links. And that is why my first speaker's point was the tech is real in Star Trek and is replicable, and it can also possibly be improved more in real life. And firstly, I would like to rebut the opposition's point. He has said that Star Trek in Star Wars, they have different languages, they have different ethnics, and they have different species. But in Star Trek itself, the concept of Star Trek or the show itself is about adventure. It's about going to different worlds or different planets to find new species, to see to see what's going on there. So even
Yeah,
hold on.
Yeah,
Even if yeah, hold on. So even in Star Trek itself, we're saying that this is applicable for both, but I'll explain a bit more on space traveling later on in my point. And in Star Wars movie, there's an evil, there's Jedi, and I'll explain a bit more about Jedi in my point later on. But the concept of Jedi itself is, let me go through. Jedi are considered to be a mythical knight. Okay, it's a mythical knight. So they are to protect the universe or protect the galaxy and maintain the balance. And that concept itself is okay. But then what they use is they use the force. The force has no scientific explanation. It's more towards a fantasy or a magical power that does not make sense for us or is not as accurate as possible in real life. So to go on to my first point, the show Star Trek itself, it focuses more on the science part rather than the abstract powers such as the Force or the Jedi. Like I explained just now, Jedi's are protector, and that concept itself is fine. But the concept of the Force is what allows these Jedi's to be Jedi's. Of course, like even in real life, imagine if you meditate for 20, 30 years, or even for the rest of your life. What makes you so sure that you can suddenly have the force? So, and to explain a bit about the force, okay? The force is a power that that the Jedi has, or the villains in Star Wars has, and the force allows them to maybe pull someone from afar, push them away, or even strangle them from afar. And another character or another villain in Star Wars, they would even have like electricity or lightning from their hands, which is not applicable in real life as much as I can say. Even in the latest Star Wars movie, a character was revived from the dead, and that completely goes against the nature of the law. So, as compared to Star Trek itself, and I would believe that the genre of Star Trek is called science fiction. Whereas I believe that Star Wars is more on the science but fantasy side. So, in honor of the motion, so that's why we believe that Star Trek is much more skewed towards real life than Star Trek is much more skewed towards real life than Star Wars. Another example, okay, as I stated before, space traveling. Traveling in space is definitely something that is plausible in the future. We might not know how or when or why. And I would like to clarify that both movies do have space travel. But in Star Trek, they would use like spaceship orbiting the galaxy and traveling through the space. But
POI.
hold on. But in Star Wars, they use a concept of hyperdrive. Okay, this is a big concept that I would like to explain on. So hyperdrive is basically traveling through light at a very fast speed. And the reason why I say it doesn't make sense, okay? Because in real life, driving a car too fast, even sitting in a car that's too fast, inertia will pull you back. You will be pulled back, and then you will feel the pressure. Hyperdrive in real life would, I assume, would make you plumb into
You're
a
right.
flash of meat. Yeah, sure.
So you're saying that teleportation is more logic than hyperdrive? Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. Because teleportation is a concept that is not that might not be explained right now. But imagine hyperdrive. You're literally traveling through the speed of time or speed of light. You're traveling in a way that it does not is not compatible for human body. Whereas teleportation, it might be complex. I'm not sure about the technicality or the biological, but it is still definitely a plausible case. You might not put human through at first, but compared to hyperdrive, which is something that doesn't make sense entirely. And to my second point, the villains in Star Trek portrays real life better than Star Wars. So why do I say that? Villains such as villains such as Darth Vader is just a power-hungry maniac who wants to kill people and have some internal problems, which is definitely true. But in Star Trek, there's a character that is, what is it called? It's a warrior that was cast away, and then he was something along the lines of relying on like slaves, which is definitely comparable to real life. And and these are the things that why we on the government side believe that Star Trek is better. So to sum up my case, my government, my prime minister has said that the technologies are applicable. She even gave a concept. She even gave the Death Star as an example. So to all of you who might not know, so Death Star is a planet, but a machine shaped like a planet intended to destroy other planet. So even if you think about it, how is that feasible? How is that possible in a way that even in the far future, is something like that will be able to be recreated? And I've also explained like why, because of Star Trek, the show itself focuses more on the science part rather than the fantasy part, like the Force or the Jedi, and the villains in Star Trek also makes much more sense and much more relatable in the current real life status quo. So then I am proud to propose my case. Thank you.
I would like to thank the speaker for their remarks. Now I call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition to continue the case for their side.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Now, before continue on with my debate, firstly, right, we are not we are not here to say that we are from the bad side or the good side from Star Wars, but we are here to definitely say that that we oppose this motion on how this house believes that Star Trek is more scientifically sound than Star Wars. Now, before I continue to my debate in first place, I'm going to provide you a few rebuttals and a few clarification and public questions to ask to the government, and I'm going to start to talk about my points for today, which is why Star Trek is not scientifically sound in the first place, right? Now, before I talk about my arguments, there are a few things I need to rebut and probably clarify a few things. So, as what had been said by the government, right, the second speaker of the government, they simply say that Jedi is a mythical knight and it is a concept. Therefore, force is not the force is not scientifically proven. Look, when we look at the existence of force, we do agree, that there are certain characteristics that comes from the movie itself. The Star Wars are not real, and in fact, it is the same case that goes towards Star Trek as well. But there were no leverage and clarifications that had been stated by the side government to just simply say that why is it that the government's arguments that why is it that Star Trek is even more scientifically proven, scientifically sound, goes towards their case and mechanisms, which in fact what we can see in Star Wars as well, like what my leader of opposition had said, there are also scientifically sound and probable logical sense that can be achieve at the end of the day. Like we can see that both movie actually has this kind of things, this kind of scientifically sound, but there was no leverage given. So therefore, I cannot really understand, the arguments that is coming from the government, right? Second, they said on the fact that Jedi or some of the characters have electricity that they can also revive a person. It same goes towards the Star Trek, right? There are illogical reasons that goes with it, which I'm going to talk more. Therefore, therefore, this is disprove the fact that Star Trek is more scientifically sound rather than Star Wars. In fact, that Star Wars are even more scientifically sound, like what my leader opposition has said. That Star Wars, even though it is not scientifically sound, both are very much the same at the end of the day, right? Later, which will later be talk about which later we're gonna talk about. First, I'm gonna continue towards my arguments in the first place. When we look at the character, like okay, a few things I need to say as well. Probably on stakeholder here, probably stakeholder in terms of the movie, and also the people who actually watches it. And I'm gonna talk now. I'm gonna talk about my arguments. First, on the character of Klingons, which is their antagonist here. Klingons keep changing throughout movies, which is different, which is weird, because when we relate to our daily life in humane, in scientifically sound real life, there's no one can be changing appearance at every single movie. That you simply change people features, which is not scientifically proven, which is in fact disprove why Star Trek is actually scientifically sound. That these Klingons actually change appearance and features of their face. See, as part of the movie franchise goes on, what we can see is that Klingon faces has gone even more structural, has gone that there have been bumps on his face, that we can see it becomes more creepier, becomes more dark, people see it even more scarier, which in fact is different from what real life is, different from what scientifically sound is. When we talk about scientifically sound, nobody can simply change their appearances throughout movies, throughout acting. That's this which is has never been stated by the side government. When we talk about people changing appearances, what I can put into comparison is like, me myself, in every year, yes, we do age, but we do not simply grow a horn. We do not simply grow features that makes us scarier. Yes, even if that happens, that is probably because that person has disease and so on. That is a good beneficial data just to prove that it can happen, but most probably not to everyone. Second, I'm gonna talk about holodeck does not make any sense. What is actually a holodeck, right? Holodeck is actually on a part of that movie on Star Trek itself, that when you go to this hologram platform, that you can actually that you can actually go inside it and touch things inside it, which in fact hologram just means you actually see it, but you cannot really touch it. Therefore, it's not actually real. Which in Star Trek it shows that there are movies in Star Trek that shows that holodeck, the characters actually go inside that holodeck and touch things that are not actually meant to be touched. That they can still touch it and it is visible, which is weird. When we talk about hologram in real life, it simply means that you can see it, but it is not simply able to be touched. Yes, you can touch the light probably, but you cannot really touch. Let's say the hologram shows a rat walking, but you can't really touch it. But the holodeck shows that you can actually touch those rats and those rats will react, which is in fact proves that Star Trek is not actually scientifically sound. Therefore, then we go to a stakeholder, right? Besides the movie itself, or even the people who actually watches it. When we talk about the movie franchise, we can actually see that Star Wars movie franchise is even more successful than Star Trek. It probably is because Star Wars is actually more relatable to people. People see when people think that is more relatable to that person, people will start correlate within each other. Then that is what people will find it even more relatable and much more interesting to see, because they could relate to that movie, which is why Star Wars is even more successful than Star Trek at the end of the day, right? Second, on probably people who actually watches it, people who actually watches that Star Trek is actually not actually scientifically proven. It's also a bad thing, you know, because things are portraying things that actually not scientifically proven and backed up. Although yes, I agree that Star Wars also has it, but I believe that Star Trek is even more Star Trek is even more not scientifically sound as what I, as I as I had stated before. Let me summarize a few things that comes from side opposition. Is that I prove to you that Klingons keep changing, which actually disproves Star Trek is scientifically sound, and holodeck does not make any sense at the end of the day. Therefore, we the side opposition truly disagrees with today's motion, just to prove to we truly disagree with today's motion to prove to you on the fact that we stay on our stance, which is to prove that Star Wars is actually even more scientifically sound, and that and even if it is not scientifically sound, that does not disprove that Star Wars is actually Star Trek is actually more scientifically sound at the end of the day, right? Therefore, I, as DDLO, would like to rest my case. Thank you.
Can we, sorry, Chairperson,
Okay.
can we just, okay, go on first.
I would like to thank the speaker for their remarks, ladies and gentlemen. Should we wait first or what?
Wait, let me check. Haziq, are you here? Haziq? Hello, Haziq, are you here? Can you guys hear me?
Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello, hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can. You already connected,
alright,
right?
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Okay,
I
sorry,
think we
everyone.
okay, we can continue. Okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, and the honorable educators, I shall now call upon the government whip to rebut.
Thank you, Ms. Chairperson. Am I audible?
Yes.
All right, I will be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion for today's debate stands. This House believes that Star Trek is more scientifically sound than Star Wars. Now, some arguments coming from side opposition. Firstly, they say that the opposition leader of opposition mentioned that Star Wars also resembles real life, such as the real world. And he also then goes on to mention that the Star Wars characters have compromises of different people from different ethnicities and covers different languages. Well, first of all, Star Trek and Star Wars are very similar. We concede to the fact that Star Trek and Star Wars are very similar. However, Star Trek also has different languages and ethnicities, such as Klingon, Vulcan, and Tamarian ethnicities and cultures that also speak their own unique and distinguished languages. Now, for the stakeholders in this movie mentioned, right? So the stakeholders that are we consider people who have been influenced and people who have watched the movie. And so the main reason for people watching the main takeaway from people watching Star Trek is to be more adventurous, is to be more outgoing and do not be afraid to fail. And along the way you will eventually find challenges and hardships. And so what this does is that Star Trek promotes the attitude and the environment of getting through hard times by and not be afraid of taking your chances and exploring new things, whereas Star Wars is more towards being the hero, being the hero, being the protagonist and antagonist, being the main character, and being and using violence and force to face your challenges. Whereas in Star Trek, the whole premise of the whole show and of the whole universe is set up around getting through these hardships and these tough times without the use of severe violence as seen in Star Wars. And so what this does is that it only strengthens our side of the debate, whereby we say and we stand towards the fact that Star Trek is a lot more scientifically sound compared to Star Wars. And so the argument that has been brought forth by the opposition is that Star Wars has been a more successful movie and the characters are more relatable. Maybe Star Wars, yes, we concede to the fact that maybe Star Wars has been more successful. That is not and will not be the point of this entire debate. He goes on to relate this popularity of Star Wars is because the characters are more relatable. In what world is your father a powerful being trying to take over the world? And so as we can see here, as explained by my deputy prime minister, the villains portrayed in Star Trek are actually a lot more realistic compared to the villains portrayed in Star Wars. Is This is because the villains in Star Trek, such as Klingon, for example, they practice feudalism and authoritarianism, with a warrior caste relying on slave labor. So as this resembles really close and is actually inspired by real life, we can see that feudalism flourishing between the 9th and 15th centuries in Europe and Japan and other parts of the world, authoritarian seen in countries even to this day, such as North Korea and Syria, and the warrior caste as seen during the Mongol Empire. It is evident that Star Trek portrays the science and culture of humanity better than as seen in Star Wars, whereby the characters in Star Wars are simply out there for pure power, are simply out there for pure for the sole purpose of aesthetic revenge, right? So when these characters fight, they use their quote unquote lightsabers, and all this does is it adds to the aesthetic experience of actually watching the movie. It has no similar resemblance, or it has no substantial uh, real life portrayment as compared to the some of the technology or devices or equipment that has been mentioned by my prime minister. And so to summarize, side government's side government stance for today, we do believe and we strongly believe that today's motion should be passed. That Star Trek is more scientifically sound compared to Star Wars because first of all, the tech is real and is replicable in real life, and yes, it might not be a similar resemblance to what we have now, but the bedrock of these devices that we have today, right? The bedrock of the smartphone, for example, they all are derived similarly, or they have the same design, the rough design, similarly towards Star Trek more compared to Star Wars. And so, followed by the next argument brought forth is that the show itself, it focuses more on the science of space travel rather than the abstract power of the Force and the Jedi Knights. And so, as we can see, and also mentioned by my deputy prime minister, the villains portrayed in Star Trek is more scientifically sound compared to the villains portrayed in Star Wars. And so this at the end of the day, it's not about popularity, it's not about how the movie rates, it's about which movie and which universe is more relatable towards the real life. And so and on that note, the side government can only wish to propose the motion for today. Thank you.
I would like to thank the speaker for that speech. It is now time to listen to the rebuttals of opposition whip.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. All right. Wait. Sorry, my connection was bad. I need to sum up everything first. Wait. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, what have we learned today? What have this motion has done to us today? So this is what we are going to talk about today. So this house believes that this house believes that Star Wars is more realistically sound than Star Trek. So what we are trying to compare right here is which sounds more scientific, or basically which kind of things that we could accept to logic more. So we believe that we from the business chat, we already show you facts, and we already show you that the steps by steps how we are taking these kind of things acceptable and stuff like that. We have provided you statistics, we have provided you facts and stuff like that, and so on. So right now, the problem with the opposition side today is the problem with the government side today is that they are trying to take Star Wars as the bigger picture. They doesn't even have the brain to think or to basically just minimize every single plot. They doesn't even know what Star Trek even is. They doesn't know the main character. They doesn't know the villains and stuff like that. They just basically use this as a mere company, or basically the bigger picture of the whole Star Trek story itself, the whole Star Wars story itself. So they doesn't see like how the character builds up. They doesn't see every single plot that these movies have. Basically in general. All right, so before I start my debate for today, I would like to divide my work into two. First, I would stand for the opposition side, and second, I would destroy the government side. So moving on to my first rule for today. We from the government side keep saying that these kind of things are inspired by Star Trek and stuff like that, iPads and stuff like that. I don't understand where is the relation, where are the dots that are connecting to everything. And then suddenly they have the dare to bring up Stephen Hawking name. They're just saying that, okay, this flashing light could just basically makes Stephen Hawking life better. You don't understand that these are the kind of people that are very, very smart. They could just basically invent anything. And you have the dare to say that this flashing light have a single relation with Stephen Hawking. For example, if I say, okay, this is a piece of paper, and because of this piece of paper, I can create an iPad. Where is the relation? Where are the dots connected? They are just basically just jumping facts, jumping statistics and stuff like that. They're just saying that, okay, just because this thing have similar shapes and stuff like that, it could be an iPad. A paper could become an iPad. A pencil could basically become an Apple pencil, just like that. That is so easy. That is how I believe that the government side today is so delusional. They are just stating things that have similarities, very, very, very little similarities, and just basically saying that, oh, this can be an iPad, this can be an Apple pencil, this could be a lot of things. So this is the problem with the government side. They lack details, they lack statistics, they lack facts. And if you are talking about how these kind of things have inspired by the tech and stuff like that, how these kind of things are more replicable and stuff like that, we already given you specs that Star Wars is actually more replicable and have actually better statistics and stuff like that. We have shown you, we have theme parks, we have a lot of things, we have even the popularity statistics prove that people are more relatable to Star Wars itself than Star Trek. This is why people watch Star Wars more than Star Trek. Because we already have, we have real life lightsabers, we have a lot of kind of things that are created basically based on the Star Wars movie itself. While you on the other side just providing facts that are basically just merely assumptions, which is so delusional for me. All right, so moving on, they are talking about the Force and stuff like that. Yes, you understand the Force itself, it is a myth. It is a myth, but we must understand today's debate is talking about until what extent do we believe that Force is good? Okay, so we understand that, yes, the Force itself is very, very nonsense. But to what extent it is to nonsense? Yes, we believe that, okay, lifting people up and stuff like that, that is nonsense. But the Force itself is nature. We could see that a lot of people nowadays, they are going out, they are basically blending in with the nature. We could see that the movie itself trying to say that the Force, which is the nature itself, it is a good thing. People are meditating, people are going out in the jungle, people are basically just trying to become one with your nature. It is actually just basically just improving your mental health and stuff like that. And that is based on the real statistic and stuff like that. And then the one thing that I am so mad about the opposition's the government side today is they are talking about how teleportation is basically more realistic than hyper speed. I'm sorry. So you could say, okay, we about the teleportation, they also doesn't even know what kind of technology could bring us towards teleportation and stuff like that. While hyperspeed, yes, we understand it is in the speed of light or something like that. We are already breaking the sound barrier, ladies and gentlemen. We are already breaking the sound barrier, and I believe that it is until a nick of time that we can create a technology that could even break the barrier of speed. So what about teleportation? What kind of facts or what kind of statistics that have to be provided by the government side that show to us that we can already do teleportation and stuff like that? That is very, very delusional from the government side. All right. So moving on, the second speaker also keeps talking about how the character is more relatable, a warrior and stuff like that, which they didn't even state his name and stuff like that. That is, I don't understand. While we from the opposition side, we understand that, okay, you are saying that Darth Vader is a lord who are basically just trying to consume wool and stuff like that. Yes, we understand that. Yes, that is a myth lah. For me, example, that is a myth. But to what extent does it as a myth? So we could see that nowadays, if you are talking about real life experience, the Star Wars itself are not sugarcoating things. We are not talking about space travel, which doesn't even exist right now. We are talking about real life issues where people are being enslaved. We could see that Leia has been kidnapped, has been enslaved and stuff like that. We could see that there are a lot of problems that are happening. There are wars between two big organization and stuff. We are relating each dots by saying that every single thing that has happened in Star Wars has a relation towards us in the real life. We are show you the statistic about how they are the empires and then how they are the rebellions. Those are the kind of stuff that exists in the real world right now. We are not sugarcoating this stuff. We are not just basically just making dumb assumptions and stuff like that. We are talking about real statistics and we are not sugarcoating anything. This is what happening is in real life. If you could use your mind and relate every single thing that we are saying right now, this is what Star Wars are trying to bring. We're just making it a fantasy, so it looks interesting. But at the end of the day, if you really try to understand the movie itself, it is very, very close to our real life situation right now. All right. And then moving on to the government side, what have we shown you today? What have the government side and the opposition side shown you today? The government side is just basically saying that, okay, these are the things that are existing in the Star Trek in life. These are the things that are existing in Star Trek, and basically these things are relatable and stuff like that, without even providing stats. This is just merely assumptions and stuff like that. And we have talked about character development, which is so bad, how people face could turn into one thing and another thing in the movie. While the opposite side today, we are trying to show to you that the Star Wars itself, it is very, very relatable. We have wars, we have enslavement, we have a lot of tech basically being developed. We have real life lightsabers and stuff like that. So basically, we believe that Star Wars is more technically sound or more scientifically sound than Star Trek. And by that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Now that we have heard all the three speakers from both teams, we shall take a short break of 1 minute. During this time, both the government and the opposition teams will prepare the reply speech. The time of 1 minute has ended. I shall now invite the opposition from the opposition team to deliver the reply speech.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright. So what we can see from today's debate that the House believe that Star Trek is more scientifically sound than Star Wars, with the mechanism and with the definition that has been given by the government. We have to actually prove to you that both side actually has scientifically sound and proven that they are scientifically sound, but which one is actually more than each other, but with going with what the side government had give to us, I think that the leverage and the definition is already problematic. Therefore, what the side opposition has said to you is even better and disprove the motion of today's debate. Now, what am I going to talk in my reply speech, right? Well, I'm going to talk about the points that we have stated to you, and I'm going to talk about which is actually better and which is actually proves that the movie is actually even more scientifically sound at the end of the day, right? Now, let me continue with my first point of the side opposition. First, we go towards the logic and language barrier, and second, that we go towards they use droids to communicate, and that what we can see is that we have this translator app at every translator app in our current world, and then second we go towards Klingons that they keep on changing physical features which is not seen in real life. Therefore, there's no scientifically sound proven there, and that holodeck does not make any sense. Right now, first I'm gonna probably discuss more and summarize more on our first points. Right, first when we talk about language barrier, that this movie actually have that yeah, Star Wars actually have a good language barrier, and that the fact that they use droids. This actually already proved to you the fact that modern science right now that they are droids example that we use, probably like an app and translator. We proved to you that this translator and app actually exists, and already proved to you that these kind of things actually exist, that people actually do have it, and people actually do it at the end of the day, right? That people that right now it is actually happening, and there are things like this, an example that people use and therefore in what I can say is that it is more scientifically proven and scientifically sound. Second, and we go towards Klingons their keep changing their physical features. Therefore, this just really proves the fact that Star Trek is even more scientifically sound, right? Because when we have people changing features, this is not a norm what we can see in our current life. When we correlate to it, when we talk about scientifically sound, there's no scientifically proven that people can have their features changes throughout the years. Yes, they age, but not towards the point that they have simply horns, and that makes them even more scarier. When in fact, yes, I do agree that there are some certain cases that people get disease and turns to be like that, but that's not the majority case here. Therefore, I do disagree on why Star Trek is more scientifically sound. Third, what our point had stated to you is that holodeck makes no sense. When we talk about holodeck, hologram stuff, it's things that we can see and visible, but it is not something that we can actually touch. So that actually disprove on the fact that Star Trek is actually more scientifically sound. And these little things that we prove to you, and probably the major things that have been said by my way, already prove to you on why, and on the fact that why, and probably scientifically sound Star Trek is not actually more scientifically sound rather than Star Wars. Therefore, we from the side opposition truly stands on the debate, and our stance for today is just to prove to you Star Wars is actually even more scientifically sound rather than Star Trek itself. Therefore, I decide opposition with my reply speech would like to rest my case. Thank you.
I would like to thank the speaker for that speech. I shall now call upon the Prime Minister from the government team to deliver their reply speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay, the point of this debate is to discuss which movie is more scientifically realistic. we do concede to the fact that there are some technologies that exist in both movies that exist in real life, such as the PADD and the iPad and tablet are similar because it uses screen and you can use them to interact with it. Let's go through our first point. The technology is real and replicable in real life. More text in Star Trek, such as the PABD holograms, are much more possible than the concept of the Death Star itself. Because actually holograms scientists have created a touchable hologram using lasers, and the touches registered using a camera placed under the hologram, and the information is actually relayed back to the computer, which changes the holographic images. Um, so scientists have actually found a way to make holograms touchable, and our second point is the show itself focuses more on the science part rather than the abstract part, which is like, for example, in the Star Wars movie, the Jedi, the Force. Here we can conclude that Star Wars and Star Trek, it's yes, it's similar, but it's different. It is different because here we can see, okay, when you watch Star Wars, think you don't think of it as something that you can see like in everyday life. Like for example, you cannot see like someone just meditating using their force like to take things to strangle people. You can't like do that in real life. I mean, like, is it feasible? Is it doable in real life? Is it can you actually do that in real life? Yeah. So here I want to like highlight the, what do you call that? The, what do you call that? The motive of the Star Trek movie is more to like space exploration, which is actually close to us. We have space exploration. We have like space exploration that we can relate to. We can know about the we are actually studying other planets. Do they have like other habitats there? I mean, like, do they have other beings there? Yeah, finding different species in other planets. We do actually do the exploration in finding different species in other planets. So our final point also said that the villains portray real life better than Star Wars. Because as mentioned by the third speaker, the slave labor. So over here we can see that as seen in like the countries such as North Korea and Syria, the the cases, which is kind of like a hot topic right now, the North Korea and Syria cases. Yeah, so we can actually relate that and implement that in our daily life, and we can actually relate to that more, even more better. So by that being said, I propose that Star Trek is scientifically sound than Star Wars. Thank you.
Thank you. We have now come to the end of the debate. Debaters are asked to remain in this room while waiting for the educators to make a decision. The educators are reminded to move to the educators' discussion room in the Cisco WebEx via the link provided. Thank you.
Hello, CP.
Look,
Yes.
Can I ask, because since we end at 12:30, right? Can you ask your team to extend the roll call at 2:30?
All right, I will try to ask them.
Yeah, because I think not everyone is ending in the right time, right? So if possible, 2:30.
Okay.
we're pretty tired lah.
You guys from UTHM agree,
Hi
right?
guys.
To
Hi.
We agree. We agree.
Betul,
yeah,
we
true.
agree, we
Hi
agree.
UTHM.
Hi
You guys did
guys.
great.
Hello.
You guys did great. It was a good
It was
It was
debate.
fun.
horrible for
It
us
was
because
fun.
the
Nola,
You guys-
only person that watched one of the movies is our first speaker.
guess what?
And
Our reply only watches this. Me and my second speaker, we don't watch also. So it's the same.
I was like,
Yeah.
pop culture. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
shocked
God.
that week. Yeah.
I was like
I
macam
think
out of any motion, why do we? Kenapa motion ni siap? I was like,
Kan, I was like,
Technically dia macam dia relate dengan science kan, tapi aduh, there's a very big
How do
hoop
you-
right there.
how do
you know,
debate in this kind of motion?
I-
Oh, God.
I'm not
I was-
sure actually.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I know a lot of things about Star Wars, but I don't know anything about Star Trek. So I guess maybe they don't know anything about Star Trek also. These are based on assumption.
That's true.
I feel like people our age, right? I'm assuming you guys are like similarly aged.
Yeah.
I'm assuming like what are the percentage that people actually watch Star Trek? Like
Yeah,
Star Wars, I
yeah.
understand because the movie macam cool and people
Yeah.
fight and there's like forces like it's cool. So it's much
Yeah.
more applicable.
There's
Tapi macam how many people actually watch Star Trek?
Yeah. I guess the only reason people watch Star Trek is for the meme, no.
That's true.
That's the only reason that people watch Star Trek. And props to you guys lah, because it was so hard, to talk about Star Trek and stuff like that.
Yeah, the fact that you just
You guys
started
did
it.
great also.
If I were to become the government, I don't really actually know what to talk about. I think the fact that your first speaker bravely talk about everything.
Yeah. Yes.
If I were her, I would like, what am I going to talk about?
Yeah, your first speaker was very great though.
It's your first tournament, by the way. So it's really
Same goes
You
with
guys are
us.
Oh really?
Same.
All you guys?
Yeah, it's the same for all of us.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really? Even Hazik?
Hazik Nola. He's better
Yeah,
than
Hazik-
but
No, I
Yeah,
was
that's why I
better in
said-
school lah.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm 19, so it's just like 2 years lah. I left school. Pretty rusty lah.
Yeah, because to me it's very clear macam people who experience and people who don't. And that's why macam it's like, oh, this guy is going to kill us. Macam tu.
I was walking in the debate. Imagine lah, I was disconnected for the whole Irfan speech, and I was like, I was clueless tau. And aku susah ni nak menang kan, nak buat apa kan. I miss his whole speech because I'm the third speaker kan. So I need to write down everything he said. So aku tak sempat. Aduh. But it's okay
Macam mana
lah.
tu? Kenapa? Because you're lying ke?
I don't know lah. This website is problematic. To be honest,
I
this
think
website is problematic.
because it's 2 round back to back, we need to actually rest longer lah. But I think after this,
Yeah, the device,
should be, yeah.
the device itself because my phone is heating up so much right now. It's been like what,
Oh
4
yeah,
or 5
it's
hours session.
true.
So
Yeah.
itulah.
Haziq, you're using phone, right? Using
yeah,
webcam.
I'm using my phone.
So he's not using camera. He's not using laptop or computer.
Itulah. So I have to switch between this StreamYard lah, and then Webex lah, and then Microsoft Teams lah, apa lah. In any time. So it's very battery consuming lah.
Faham.
But,
I feel like the only reason why they use Premiere is they can stream on YouTube. So that's
Yeah.
the easiest
yeah,
way.
I think so.
I mean, like, I guess it's battery consuming because it's on the website lah. If they have an app for StreamYard, I think it will be okay lah.
But possibly.
All in all, it was I don't know if it was a good. I think I don't know. I think,
What was that?
Good luck to the Edge for finding.
Good luck to the edge.
Good luck to the Edge. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why.
true.
I asked my friend also. They were talking about like, oh my god, this topic. I mean, this motion is so crazy. Like everyone thinks the same lah.
Out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
even-
tau.
Itu macam our other groups like UTHMA pun cakap macam, oh, we never watch the movie or the
Same.
show. So it's
Sama.
like,
I think that's the main problem with today's debate.
If you debate
Yeah.
about Star Wars, it's still okay lah. Star Trek, it's not our generation punya time lah. It's 19 something lah, 19 or 18 something.
1970s. The first movie, the
Damn.
first show is like 1970s. Like really old. It's like our parents old.
It's 50 years old. That is so long. We are not even born yet at that time.
So you guys are at the campus or what?
I'm at home.
You're
I'm at home too.
Let's see.
How about you guys? You guys kat campus ke?
Home.
Home.
All of us are home.
Are you all taking the same course? Or
No, only me and Ifan the
Different,
same uni, and Haziq is from different campus.
They are from KL and I'm from
As you know that UKL has different campus, right?
yeah.
We have 12 different campus. So Haziq is the one from Kedah punya campus. So ours is at KL.
Hmm.
So we only train using Teams with each other. We haven't really meet each other in real life.
Same lah.
Sempat tak nak
So you guys
tidur
are
tadi?
also the same? You guys are like friends from batchmates or what?
No, it's just that Don is like one of the debate. Dia macam debate punya club. So he invited people around and then ni lah the group form.
These are the products. Wow.
Yeah.
I see.
So Danadon is like your ni lah, your like the pioneer of the debate club.
Oh no lah, I was like inherited lah. No, lah, inherited lah. Inherited.
Okay, dah tahu ahli dia siapa.
Mana ada.
Dia dah expose.
Yeah, I've actually been to the UniKL campus was it KL lah?
KL which one?
KL.
I
MIT.
think MIT.
That's
Yeah.
ada 2 campus kan situ kan, KL.
Yeah. Wait, do you guys have like a flying school or something also?
Yeah, aviation school.
Oh yeah, I've been there also. I wanted to do that last time. But then it's like, entah. I just fell out of it lah, I guess.
What course are you guys taking?
Amir and I taking IT, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
IT as well.
I'm IT too.
Oh, so all of you guys take IT. I see.
IT versus engineers. No wonder we
IT.
You guys
IT
taking
is also
engineer?
engineering, right? Yeah.
Lepas tu bagi motion science, memang mantap lah.
Well, to be fair lah, dia punya competition pun macam nama dia Isec tu. S stands for science kan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they're very focused into science. Even macam the previous one pasal robot have feelings tu macam
Oh yeah.
that was a bit shocking as well.
So did you guys won the last debate? Yeah.
Yes, we won the last
Oh,
debate.
you guys won.
You guys are
How about you guys?
Yeah.
We got government.
Yeah, same lah. We were basically talking about robot rights lah and something like that lah and enslavement lah apa semua. And I was the most emotional one lah. I was like, do you want slavery to repeat again? This is what the opposition said.
Yeah, that's true.
I just love to make things look bad now. Like I love to play with my emotions. So basically just make everyone hear what I'm trying to say. I don't know lah. That's just my style.
That was effective on S as well.
And I don't know lah. I'm sorry lah if I somehow psycho you guys and stuff like that. It's just for the debate. It's just for fun.
Yeah. It's like the debate spirit.
Understandable lah.
If only this one is like physical, it will be much more fun.
Yeah, it will be much fun.
Yeah.
I was
Because
like,
debates are so nice.
I've been yawning for 5 times already. I need to sleep.
Oh yeah, yesterday debate dah start lambat. Lepas tu hari ni start freaking 7.
Starts at
have
7.
We have 2 more rounds, guys. 2 more
And
rounds.
then you
Yeah.
debate what the other motion. Yeah. Good luck after this. Hope you guys can. Hope we can see each other on quarter final.
Sempat kot tidur lepas ni 30 minit power nap.
Sempat tidur
30 minit je. Dia kan 2.5.
Oh tak boleh. Dia tak extend roll call. Sedih lah, sejam je lah rehat.
Okay.
Komen pun
I'm sorry.
jam ni.
I'm sorry to inform that you guys we can't drag time a lot.
Yeah, it's okay. It's understandable.
Okay.
It's okay.
kedua lah. So at 2, right?
Yeah, to
So okay
I
sum
hope-
up lah. Macam basically one session how many hours 1 hour and a half.
1 hour. 1 hour lebih. 1 hour
betul,
lebih.
1 hour and a half.
Quarantine 30 minutes and then debate the debate session itself like 30 something and then the comments 1 hour and a half lah. Cincai.
1 hour and a half. Betul lah, agree.
So tapi ada session untuk malam juga kan?
Tak ada. Sampai petang je. That's why diorang tak nak extend ni.
Yeah,
Nanti tak ada. Tomorrow ada.
Oh, tomorrow ada. Kalau
Tomorrow-
lepas kan?
Yeah, that's true.
Yang tomorrow punya lagi dahsyat tu sebab yang malam punya siap ada honourable
Siap
guest, ada national anthem.
Macam
Tomorrow
Nak
betul-betul kalau ikut itinerary diorang, tomorrow pukul 11 baru dismiss.
Kena ada tu kita.
Lagi.
Yang ending tu.
I'm not sure. Tak tahu lah.
Pakai
here.
aku kena standby.
Sorry?
Chairperson is Chairperson here? Kamalia.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm here. All right.
The draw results, like the teams that will be moving on to quarterfinals. Will they be announced today or tomorrow?
I'm not sure. Maybe by today.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
So it will be tonight lah, I think.
I don't know, maybe tomorrow and like usual they will probably announce tomorrow lah kan, sebab the fifth round will be the silent round.
Yep.
I
Betul?
Entah, tapi esok pun start pukul 8 tu apa? I don't
Tapi
know.
because the schedule kan, kalau nak start pukul 8 takkan dia nak announce before that sebab pukul 8 tu kalau ikut diorang it's already quarantine.
Yeah.
I think malam ni kot, maybe pukul 12, something like that.
I woke up at 6 today and I regret it so much.
Over. I think it's my fault. It's my fault because I stay at 7 padahal pukul 7.45.
Itulah nampak nombor besar tu 45 minit tu penting tau.
Kan the 30 minutes untuk tidur lagi tu penting.
Yeah, especially since we're going to use our brain macam the whole day kan. Literally.
Like last night pun, it was so emotionally devastating lah.
Kan
It was so tiring lah.
masa aku tidur aku macam terfikir-fikir tau, kenapa aku cakap ni, aku nak tidur. Dia tak, badan dah penat tau, tapi otak aku still jalan kan. So aku macam stress gila macam tidur.
Tu lah, malam-malam pun aku tidur tak lena tu. Asal terbangun kan. Asal, what time is it? Is it already pukul 6 ke? Dah pukul 6 ke?
Yeah, same. Kita nak pergi tandas dulu.
Esok pukul 8 baru aku keluar katil. Aku tunggu sekejap.
Tapi itulah, diorang pun macam kadang-kadang diorang start a bit late, so it's fine kot kalau lambat sikit lah. Tapi korang punya record macam ni? 2 wins ke right now?
One. So far one.
Same as you guys.
And you guys?
Oh, same lah,
One
same.
juga. Same. So basically last night lah yang kalah sama macam kita orang.
Last night kita orang kalah dengan Iron Man tu.
Iron Man ni mana?
Meaning dia ada 2 speaker je.
Dia seorang tu
So-
buat 2 position. Wow.
Uh-uh.
But they still win lah.
Dia-
Wow.
Ya.
Yeah, Unitan lah yang sekarang clean record 2 wins. 3 wins so far.
There are still 2 people lah. Ke dah ada orang ganti?
Yang tu tak sure.
I think ada. Sebab
Yeah,
they
I
said
think
only
semalam.
Iron Man policy can only use once.
Once.
And they are from?
Unitan.
See, kena tu like
Kena alert lah.
careful.
Power.
Tapi
Kena
kalau
power.
ikut tabulation kan, we should not go against them lah. Sebab dia konsep dia, from my understanding tabulation kan, dia macam dia adjust.
Because they're clean to wins kan.
Betul?
Dia orang dah 2 wins kan. So kita orang tak meet dia orang lah. So if they win this round 3 wins tu, maybe they're meeting the closest opponent lah.
Yeah.
So maybe they're meeting you guys again in case if you guys win again.
tak possible. Tak nak go against them.
It's okay lah. If you guys go against them, you have experience already right?
Tapi experience dengan 2 speaker je, lagi seorang tak pernah.
Tak payah longsang, jangan.
Unikan lah, okay lah. We'll stay alert lah in case.
Yeah. How about you guys? You guys go against team mana before this?
Semalam apa?
First is UPM Putra, second is
UPM.
UUM. Second is UUM. Our first debate was on the margin was only one. You know,
Oh, really?
it was close one. But yeah, I think ultimately like they have a slightly better points. I don't know, but yeah, they still won.
Oh, Edu's here.
I just say,
Alright, GG guys.
good luck
Yeah.
everyone. Congrats.
Hello, am I audible, everyone?
Yep.
Hello.
Yes.
So thank you for waiting. So now I would like to give the decision of the adjudicators. So this one is a good debate. So kudos to everyone. And three of the edges have give out 2-1 split, which is we gave the win to the opposition side. So congratulations. And with a very tight margin, because both sides are giving a lot of facts, and somehow we are looking forwards to the disruption. I'm gonna say that how do we cancel off each other's facts, and how do we make our facts firm and stand till the end. So that's my verdict on this. And then I will Patrick, would you like to give some add-ons, or you can say your opinions?
Yeah, okay, I'll just explain why I gave the win to the government. So, in my opinion, the government managed to raise more valid points.
Sorry.
No. I think it's a split, kan? So Patrick chose government to win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
2-1 split.
I see. But the win is on opposition, right? okay.
Yes.
Opposition.
Alright.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
It's okay, no worry. So what I found was that the opposition managed to raise more points that concur with the motion, because the motion is actually asking us to explain how Star Trek is more scientifically sound compared to Star Wars. Now, the important keyword here is scientifically sound. What do we mean by scientifically sound? It means whether the events that happen in the movie, in the motion picture, is able to be bound by the laws, our current laws of physics, biology, and chemistry. So science is actually the empirical measurement and observation of events. Our physical world as we know it is bound by limitations. So which movie actually is more bound to these limitations is how I award the points. If you look at Prime Minister, she didn't really give a clear point because she talks about the adventure. She focused on adventure, which is a plot theme. Plot theme is not applicable. But leader of opposition also came up and talked about the difference in language barrier, which is a linguistic problem. It's not scientific. It's not related to science. And the rebels fighting for freedom is a political movement, which is also not related to. It doesn't relate to being scientifically sound. So for Prime Minister, you've got good definitions, very good characterization, world building. You talked about the theme parks and all that, but you do lack analysis, and you also do not have a clear point which you need to work on. For the leader of opposition, your points did not really meet the criteria of what it means to be scientifically sound. For Deputy Prime Minister, you gave force does not make sense, blah, 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 analysis on how there is biological limitations upon the human body. And you also talked about space travel, which highlights physical limitation, and also about the psychological aspects of the villains, which also has its basis in science. So really, the Deputy Prime Minister is where I gave most of the points to. That's how I determined that the government won, because you gave in-depth analysis and your points actually followed the motion. The deputy leader of opposition also gave very good points. You talked about biological limitations and how we cannot just simply change our appearance. Actually, to be frank, if I were the government, I would argue about doing plastic surgery to just rebut this point. It would have taken it out completely, but the government did not. So too bad. The opposition won this point, biological point. They also talk about holodeck and how it makes no sense, which is in accordance with our physical laws. However, you talked about how Star Wars is more successful than Star Trek as a movie because it's more relatable. However, I think this was fairly rebutted by the government because they talked about how successful the movie is not actually the point of the debate, and that it is not really actually relatable because and he gave his points. So for government whip, you gave good rebuttals. Your rebuttals, you managed to rebut one of their points successfully, but you lack clashes. You have a good summary, but you lack clashes. You did not actually tell me what is the main crux of this motion. What is your stand versus the opposition stand, which was done by the opposition whip, who highlighted the clashes between the government and the opposition. Government did not give statistics and only talked about their assumptions, whereas the opposition goes through the force, lightsabers in real life and all that. So that is clashes which I am looking for in an opposition whip. And opposition whip also gave quite good stance. You talked about both sides, and you also gave sufficient rebuttals. However, you should provide more analysis towards your first and second speaker's points. For example, when they talked about changing appearances and holodeck, you could give a more deeper analysis. So one way I like to provide a deeper level of analysis is by using the phrase "so what." So what has always helped me in giving a more deeper analysis, because okay, look at it this way. If let's say you talked about changing appearances, you cannot just simply change appearances. So what? It does not make sense because humans are not capable of changing their genetic structure. So what? If humans cannot change their genetic structure, that means they are biologically limited in those ways. So what? So you keep using the "so what" phrase until you cannot go any further, and that's how you keep generating more levels of analysis. So based on these reasons, I gave my win to the government. But really, it's quite a tight margin, really. Okay, so back to the Troy.
Okay, thank you, Patrick, for giving a personal verdict to everyone. And I think we are going to end right because the next round is we have a break time. So I'll pass back to the chair.
All right, thank you. With that, the House of Parliament is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Probably
Thank you,
if there's
guys.
the edge, I think who can you say the best speaker here into this debate? If the edge is here. Okay, rasanya dah keluar ke? Yeah, okay, anyways. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay,
GG,
congrats, guys.
Thank you,
Congrats,
guys. Good
everyone.
luck, next
Okay,
round.
congrats, guys.
Congrats.
See you guys again. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
All right,
Good
thank
luck,
you. Bye, guys.
Bye.